Hello everybody, this is 10-8 Police Talk. Officer Bosco here with you today. Basically today what I'm going to be going over is actually my duty belt, my current duty belt. I'm going to be going over basically configuration, what I have on there, why I have it on there, and just basically go over some of the gear that I carry to work every day. One thing I'm also going to be doing is also discussing another holster that I actually used previously, which is currently on my side on another belt, which was my previous holster. I'm just going to go into briefly over this holster as well because this is another holster that I like quite a bit. The duty belt holster, the duty belt actually is kind of unconventional. It's made by a company called Speed Set. It's a very unconventional a belt. It is designed actually, you can use regular law enforcement products on it, but they actually have their own line of gear that actually fits on this rail here. I don't know if you can get a good shot of it, but this rail right here, you can actually put their gear on this rail, and what it does is there's a metal piece here, and then underneath this is rubber. Okay, and what it does when you put that metal piece over there, they have like these little brackets on like the back of their handcuff cases and their mag pouches, and what it does is it goes on that rail so it's not actually, you know, hitting the belt, which sometimes, you know, this gear on the back like this is what gives a lot of officers their discomfort on the belt. So what it does is that helps to kind of alleviate, because then the gear is kind of floating on the belt instead of it, you know, digging into your side, which sometimes does happen with the gear. One thing, like I said, this is basically, it's got a metal piece here that goes all the way around, and the rest of it's basically this nice, fairly soft rubber, so when you wear it all day, it's pretty comfortable. The belt buckle is also pretty unique too. This is actually the belt buckle here. It's got a couple hooks on the bottom, and what you do when you push this in, it completes the hooks from the top, and that's what locks the belt into place. Now on the corresponding part, you have this, this is also that part of that outer metal belt that we have. And what it does is it has these little niches here, and basically all you do is you just line it up on one of those notches, put it in, snap that down, and your belt's good. Now the one thing I do like about this belt that I don't like about these conventional belts is the fact that you don't have Velcro coverage in the front, so sometimes your belt will kind of droop. This, you don't have that. The great thing about this belt is you literally have Velcro the whole way around the whole belt. So instead of this, you know, where you have kind of this loose part in the front where there's no Velcro, but just because of the fact that how this is designed, this will drag a little bit. This, you don't ever have that problem. You know, and that's one thing I like about this belt, since it has the Velcro, so it grabs more onto your inner belt if you're wearing a Velcro inner belt, which they, I believe, also sell that on the website, but you can use any conventional inner belt for that as well. Basically, just going over some of my gear. I do have an aftermarket cell phone carrier, because pretty much nowadays you have to have a cell phone. Where I work as a police officer, our cell signals are real bad out there, or sometimes our radios don't work really well. So you need a really good cell phone pouch. And of course, I recently just went to the Black Hawk Level 3 holster, the Epic holster, left-hand and basket weave, which we discussed that in a prior video. That seems to be getting a lot of hits. That's the reason why I'm doing something on my belt. And also Officer Joel did one on his, and I noticed that got a lot of traction too, so I'm just going to do one on mine as well. I do have double handcuff cases. My belt is kind of a mix between Speed Set, Bianchi, and Safariland, so it's got a little bit of everything on it. This is Bianchi. These two handcuff carriers. I have dual handcuff carriers on both sides with Smith & Wesson handcuffs. One's hinged, one has a key on it. This is actually the hinged ones. The other side I have the chain ones, which actually have the kind of a neat new locking feature on the Smith & Wesson handcuffs, which if you can go in a little bit tight on this. In the old days, you used to have to put the pin in there to double lock the handcuff. These new Smith & Wessons have this little lever on it. All you got to do is pull that back, like when you're arresting somebody and they're double locked. So you see, you don't have to worry about them cinching in. Okay, these are all you have to do is literally just lift that up on the back, and they're completely double locked on you. And these are the Smith & Wesson M&Ps. These are the newer Smith & Wesson handcuffs. They're really nice. I like them quite a bit. But that's a nice feature. Instead of trying to fumble around through the little keyhole or like the Peerless are on the side, you don't have to deal with that anymore. So that's a very smart idea by Smith & Wesson, which is the reason why I bought them. The hinge cuffs are older, so they don't have that on there. Basically, this is my flashlight. This is a Streamlight Stinger. I've had this thing since 1998, and it still works. You can see the black's pretty much right away on the button. I've gone through probably 5 battery sticks in the lifetime of this. I still have the original charger, and it still works. One thing I did do to, which a friend of mine actually recommended, is I put, there's a company called Terralux, and they make an aftermarket adapter head for this, where you can put an LED on this. It bumps it up to about 300 lumens, and it works perfectly. I could use this thing for half a shift, and I still barely have to charge it. So it does a really great job, and it, like I said, it gives a really good consistent beam of light. But it's made by Terralux, and they're only about 30 bucks. I mean, they're well worth the money. I mean, they're well worth about 30 to 50, give or take, depending on where you buy them. But they are, it's a must. Trust me, if you want a Stinger to last a long time, go to that. Now, of course, if you get that battery, if you get that Terralux head, the better battery to get, the battery stick is the green one, because that's basically more designed for the LED lights. So it's a lot better for the LEDs if you go to the green NiCad. I think it's a NiCad battery if I remember right. But it works better with the LEDs. Okay. And basically, as you can obviously see on mine, I have the old hog leg. I have the old M26 Taser. Yes, we still use these at our department. We had issues with the X26s. We got these from another agency that unfortunately disbanded near our department. That basically went under, so we got these basically for free from them. These work. They always work. You never have to have a problem with these not working. I don't think I've ever seen an M26 break. The X26s pretty much almost always break. I've never had good luck with those. Like I said, this is a hog leg. It works. It's a lot to carry around, but it works, and that's what's more important. Okay, and we do have some of the new X26. I think they're P, aren't they, Officer Joel, the new updated ones? So we do have just a couple of those. So everybody else is carrying the M26s. But these things work, and they work extremely well. Of course, they work on pain compliance as opposed to the muscle contraction, which the newer ones work on that. So it's a little different principle. But these do work, and they work extremely well. One thing I'm going to go over too is also real quick, just my mag pouch. This is the, like I said, I'm kind of a mishmash of different companies on my belt. This is actually Safariland makes this. They actually make it in a three mag pouch as well. The great thing about these is what it does is instead of your magazines sitting long ways like this one, which is also Safariland, instead of magazines being long ways, they're basically like this instead. Which for an officer, when you're copping, you're trying to reload, it's easier to index your magazine when you're going like this into the gun than if they're sideways, because then you got to pull them out, twist them, and get them up into your gun. So it's less movement, so it's quicker to reload. Which is why I went to these, because like I said, it's easier to index. Also, I wear my magazine pouch long ways, which unfortunately does take up much more belt, but when you're reloading, when you have them long ways like that, it's easier for me to pull the mag out, put it in the gun, then pull the mag up, twist it, and put it in the gun. So because if you wear a vertical, that's what you have to do to get the magazine out and get it into the magazine, or get it into the gun. This is, to me, is a lot quicker. Anytime I go up against anybody with a vertical mag pouch, I'm always quicker than they are, because it's just easier. It's a lot quicker. It's a better, easier movement for you to just pick it up that way. And I also wear it on my non-dominant side or my right side, because I shoot pistol left-handed, because it's easier to get the magazine. And I want it as close to my right hand as I can get. Now, the one thing I did want to go over, since we've talked about the Epic before, which I love this holster. I actually bought another one. I actually slapped it on a low drop fit rig for it, which is also made by Bianchi, or actually is made by Blackhawk. And basically this just shows you the versatility of the Blackhawk. Same thing with Safariland. Safariland and Blackhawk both understand that you got different size officers, and they try to give as many options as they can. This is another option for that. I'm not a huge fan of low drops. I just put it on here basically just to show you. I was probably going to set up another belt and maybe use this for instruction. But I'm not a huge fan of them because it basically pulls your pants legs down, which drives me nuts. And I don't know about tactical guys that have that problem, but it pulls my pants down. I can't stand that. I just find it really annoying. What I'm going to do real quick too also is I'm going to talk about this holster. This was my prior holster. This is the Safariland. I think the number is 6395, I think is the actual holster number for it. And probably next to the Blackhawk, this is probably my favorite holster. I know there's a lot of Safariland fans out there. I'm still a Safariland fan, even though I carry Blackhawk. I still like Safariland. And basically with this, this is also light bearing. You can also get it without. It's considered a level 1 holster with level 1 retention, but technically it could be considered a level 2. And I'll tell you the reason why. You have this, which is the ALS system, which is this little piece that you hit. try to see as best you can. And what you do is you push that down, and what that does is it locks into the hood, the ejection hood on the gun. So when you press that down, it unlocks it, and you can pull it out. That's considered a level of retention. It does have a screw down here, a retention screw, so I consider it actually a level 2, even though Safariland I think puts it out as a level 1. But that screw is pinch retention, so it actually technically can make it a 2. One thing I like about it is it has this on there, love it or hate it. I mean, I know some cops that take this off because they can't stand it. This is just so if somebody's trying to come from the front to try to grab your gun, it makes it harder for them to get to that lever. And even when you have the ones with the hood on it, because a lot of the newer ones that I know a lot of people are carrying have this, but they also have the hood, the SLS hood across it. That's just to keep people from getting to that button from the front, is all that really is. Because basically this will fold over. It's really easy to fold it over, and like I said, it makes it real difficult for them to get to it. And that mainly is why that's there. The one advantage this holster does have over the other one, which is just kind of a minor point, which this is my Glock 23. It is unloaded. Okay. The one thing that's nice about this one, the Blackhawk, you can't do it with. Hopefully I can get the light off to show you, which I may not be able to. You can actually holster a gun without a light on it in this holster, and it'll actually hold it. The new Blackhawk Epic, and it tells you point blankly on the box that you cannot use the holster without a light on the gun, because it'll literally fish around in it if you don't have the light on there. Safariland, that's one advantage I like about these holsters. If you don't have your light, you can still use the holster, okay? Which is kind of an added benefit with the Safarilands. This is the low drop, like Blackhawk. Safariland has several different shanks on it. They have a medium, they have basically a belt, a medium, and then they have a low. And like Blackhawk, they also have a thigh rig as well. But this is probably one of my favorite holsters next to the Blackhawk Epic. And this is the one I was actually carrying my gun in before. And I like it. It's all made out of basically laminate. So it's very lightweight. It's basically just a plastic shell, but it's extremely durable. And basically that's just basically just giving you a brief history on my current duty belt and also my past holster. Give a little shout out to the Safariland fans out there, because I still am a Safariland fan. Even though I carry a Blackhawk, I do like the Epic. So I don't want any controversy. I like both. I like both brands. I like both manufacturers. And that's Officer Bosco. One thing I did not mention is basically we do have movie cameras at our department, personal movie cameras. This is actually made by a company called Muvi, M-U-V-I. We've used their product before at my department. Cameras in my department are mandatory. I'm actually going to do a separate video on the camera itself and show you the other camera we carried before this, but that's going to be in another video coming soon. And my name is Officer Bosco, and thank you for coming in for Police 10-8 Talk. Be safe and watch your six.